National Committee is dismissing the gun control provisions announced today by President Obama as, quote, an executive power grab. Reince Priebus says Obama took actions that disregard the Second Amendment. House Speaker John Boehner's office is non-committal, but it is signaling no urgency to act on Obama's proposals. This is IRN USA Radio News.
All right, Flo, so the key to safe pest removal is staying calm.
Okay.
Says here, this lady's got a badger in her attic.
Oh, I love badgers. Oh, sorry, calm. There he is! Come here, little buddy. I thought he wanted a hug.
Badgers don't really hug.
Not yet. Oh, badger.
Insuring your business vehicles with Progressive is like having Flo on the road with you. Low down payments, great discounts, and flexible billing options. Now that's Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. United Financial Casualty Company and Affiliates.
You know those commercials that have been on for years and years about Andy Willoughby's three-step plan home business system? You know, the hi, how in the world are you anyway guy? Took me almost 10 years to call. I finally did, just out of curiosity. I was really surprised. This is a business I can make a real income with. And the best part, I don't have to talk my family and friends into doing anything. It's that easy. Call 800-480-2102 or online at 3stepusa.com.
Israel's premier Wednesday dismissed President Barack Obama's reported displeasure with his hardline policies toward the Palestinians, a sign that the two could be headed for a showdown. Polls suggest Benjamin Netanyahu is poised to win Israel's elections next week and continue in office. This week, an American columnist with close ties to the White House described Obama's disdain for Netanyahu, warning that Israel's all-important relations with the U.S. could suffer in unprecedented ways if the Israeli government doesn't change its policies. Such a clash would come at a tense time when regional developments appear to be working against Israel. Britain's Ministry of Defense says a soldier injured in Afghanistan has died from his wounds at a UK hospital. The Defense Ministry says the soldier from 1st Battalion, the Duke of Lancaster's regiment, was wounded by enemy action on January 14th while serving in the Lashkar Gah district of Helmand province. It said the soldier was flown back to England for treatment at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, where he succumbed to his wounds Wednesday. For the latest news and analysis, log on to IRNUSAnews.com.
Apply chapstick to my lips, raspberry cream I can't resist. Flavor fruity, oh so juicy. Just give one to my friend Lucy. Burst of berries, creamy rich. Chapstick always on my lips. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Apply new chapstick raspberry cream and apply happy. Luscious raspberry flavored 10 juicy moisturizers. Grab one from the cough and cold aisle.
La 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 la, la la.
Chapstick, apply happy.
A whistleblower at the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is being held by his bosses. Correspondent Sean Scott Ferguson has more.
ATF Special Agent John Dodson, a key whistleblower in Operation Fast and Furious, after being sidelined, has now been cleared of wrongdoing and is being hailed for his role in exposing the program. The Inspector General's report, which accused officials in charge of Fast and Furious of disregard for public safety and faulted numerous agencies involved in the program, resulted in the letter to Dodson. Fast and Furious allowed U.S. weapons to be put in the hands of Mexican drug cartels, turning up at crime scenes in the U.S. and Mexico, and found at the scene of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry's murder. I'm Sean Scott Ferguson, IRN USA News.
More than 8,000 school bus drivers and bus matrons are on strike in New York City. They're protesting what they call a lack of job security. That means some 152,000 students have had to find their own way to and from school. A new study finds college spending on big-time athletics far exceeds academic spending. Data compiled by the Delta Cost Project at American Institutes for Research says annual spending on sports by public universities in 6 big-time conferences like the SEC and Big 12 has passed $100,000 per athlete, about 6 to 12 times the amount those universities are spending per student on academics. This comes at a time of falling state funding for higher education and increasing tuition. With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Hope Duggar.
When it comes to your health, nobody does it better. South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.com. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Yeah, the Muslims got a condition for weapons gun control.
That's a good
And
show
they
opener.
They
and
do.
you're not Tom Trento.
And I'm not Tom Trento.
But it is 7 minutes after 5 here on 1470 AM WNN Radio. And substituting this hour for the intrepid Tom Trento is
J. Mark Campbell, who is reading from The Reliance of the Traveler, the classic manual of Islamic Sharia law, certified and codified by the Fiqh Council of North America, which is a jurisprudential body, and the IIIT, International Institute of Islamic Thought, which is the major publishing house for all Muslims in America and its states.
And you have an excellent reading there related to our show today, and we've been talking about the 23 imperial edicts on gun control that were released today.
Yeah.
And what does Reliance of the Traveler have to say about gun control?
And our new Muslim vanguard of protector coming from the White House would probably agree with this. This is a condition that someone buying weapons be of a people who are not at war with Muslims. So any group that is, and that means pretty much Christians, Jews, and everybody else, because they're at war with Muslims.
Well, anybody who isn't a Sharia-compliant Muslim is at war with the Muslims, right?
So anybody who is not a Muslim does not have a right to own a gun.
What about all those? Muslim arms dealers going around the world selling stuff to non-Muslims?
No, well, they're not acting in accordance with Sharia law, and they are going to burn in hell forever. All right, we have Tom on the line. Who is this Tom?
Like, you guys have been on the air for 2 minutes without me, and I can't stand it anymore.
So, Tom, what do you got to say about all this?
My precious little brainchild. I have to be on the air every second of the time. I am in a town about 10 miles north of Naples.
Right.
I'm getting an absolutely perfect signal in the car of the show.
In Tampa?
No, Naples.
Naples. Oh, wow. That's even... Wow. You're kidding
I'm so impressed with us.
All the way across the valley. Then north of Naples, about 10, 15, 20 minutes. That's where I am right now, heading your way, and the signal is beautiful.
Wow.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Wild.
We spoke to somebody last night who was listening to us in Orlando on the radio, not on iHeartRadio,
just on the radio.
His smartphone, just on the radio in the car in Orlando.
And he was heading out to the Villages.
Yeah.
Which is on the west side of Orlando.
We will be able to control the world. Okay, I got to go. Bye.
Have no fear, listeners.
iLiver Radio.
iLiver Radio. Right.
Bye-bye.
But
I live her to fight one more day.
But we're talking about Obama's 23 edicts from the Mount of how he's going to solve the gun issue, which he actually stated it's not going to solve the gun issue. It's not going to solve the Sandy Hook
So
whatsoever.
truth in advertising.
Truth in advertising.
Truth in advertising.
I'm going to issue edicts about guns to solve a gun problem, which I know are not going to solve the gun problem in the first place.
Right. Right.
Then why are you proposing these things?
Right.
Then what's your real intent here?
Right.
To ban guns?
Well, let me ask you this. I want to read one of these to you guys and see what you think about this, because this is one that really caught my eye. Number 19 on the list. Develop model emergency response plans for schools, houses of worship, and institutions of higher education. Now, first of all, this is something that state and local authorities have been doing since 9/11 anyway. Emergency, disaster programs, et cetera, et cetera. Now, why does he have to write an executive order to do this? Don't we already have a gazillion federal agencies that could and should be doing this anyway, as a matter of course? I mean, isn't the government there supposedly to protect us?
There's nothing in here to solve a problem. It's all about getting more government involvement into things. It's to get access to, these different, institutions through the federal government. Get them more involved into everybody's daily lives.
Well, Tom, what do you think? Because you're concerned.
He hung up.
Oh, he hung up?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Because he was talking in the last hour about, he knows that there's jihadis out there who are looking to recreate Sandy Hook on a mass scale.
We know that
across
for a
the
fact.
country.
This is not
knows it for a fact.
Well, let me explain the for a fact. Just convince the audience here. Okay, they've done it before in the past. You look at Russia.
Right.
Look how they went in there and they captured the school and they held the kids there for hostages. And we know that they have this on board on plans and they're wanting to implement it. And they look at the Sandy Hook thing and they say, "Hey, my God, look what this is doing to America.
Right.
This is shocking them."
Right.
But go ahead.
No, so that's my question. What's to stop the government from having these plans without an executive order?
Well, good question, and the whole point.
Yeah. What is the whole point of this?
The whole point of this is to get
it's
more...
It's a dog and pony show, for one thing, to be able to say, oh, we did something. And one point that you guys were talking about in the first hour of the show is, you and Tom were talking about, what do you think about the backdrop of this announcement and having all the kids there?
Well, you had Marco Rubio's response earlier, did you not?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I was saying. I didn't even know what his response was.
Yeah.
It's our commander-in-chief standing behind little kids.
Yeah.
Using kids as a little shield for it, and the kids, I can't blame the kids for this stuff.
No.
They're, my president is, wanted to hear my voice. Okay, good.
Right.
And he says in his initial announcement, what I'm going to tell you is never going to protect you anyway, little kids. But I want you right here off to my side to give the impression of feeling, of caring.
Well, what Marco Rubio said was, I think ultimately he has a right to do that, and I understand he has a right to do that. I think most of us would have preferred if it had just been a straightforward address to the country, because it implies that somehow those of us who do not agree with his public policy prescriptions don't equally care about children.
That's exactly the
point.
point.
That's what it is. So,
if
you don't agree with the president, if you don't agree with Joe Biden and all this nonsense and the taking away of your rights, and it's not just your gun ownership rights, it's your privacy rights, then you don't like children.
Right.
You're evil.
It's a
You're an
feeling
evil
thing.
monster.
And you notice in his whole press conference, he never actually mentioned his 23-point plan. He barely glossed over it. He never went into any details. These are my 23 points of my plan.
Right.
These are the da-da-da-da.
Right. The whole thing was a photo op with the kids.
It was. That's all it was. CJ.
Yep.
Where are we going with this? Well, Valanda, do you have an answer for us? Because, it's, this is just ripping us apart here.
Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Go ahead.
Okay. Tom said something about the attacks proliferating on the schools, only it wouldn't be a crazed, manic American. It would be Al-Qaeda doing it. Suppose Barack Obama knows what Tom knows already. And suppose, like today, we've gotten 23 edicts today. And I hope I don't sound like a clairvoyant. But we've gotten 23 edicts today from Barack Obama. And we also, right now, as we speak, and according to what we've learned recently, we've got hostages, American hostages in Algeria.
Right.
What we're dealing with is, what we're going to be dealing with is on a grander scale. Suppose what we had, basically, not that it was a dry run of what's going to be happening in the future. Perhaps a lot of these edicts that we're hearing have to do with some events that might take place in the future that the president knows for a fact is going to be taking place in the future.
Well, okay. Let's think about that a little bit, because have you read the edicts?
I'm listening at a lot of the edicts that you're reading off, CJ, are very interesting. It's as if someone has some foresight or some foreknowledge as to what's going to be happening in the future. A lot of this, I feel personally, is going to be tied to Obamacare.
Well, that's what it is. That's what we're talking about here. If you're really worried about threats to schools, then what do you have 8 edicts about Obamacare in gun care laws for?
Right.
What's it doing there? That's the point of all this, is to do a photo op and to float more trial balloons about here's what's coming for Obamacare, and you're going to comply with it because you want to protect children, and therefore you have to support these gun laws.
That could be, but a lot of the stuff that you were reading, I think the last one you just read, and I'm thinking, suppose he knows something. It's just, to me, it's. Some people think it would be coincidental that we would be talking about the gun issue. Not that it's not important, because it very well is. This is about our rights. But we also have some issues overseas right now. We've got, although the French are involved, we've got hostages, American hostages yet again.
Right.
This got done in Benghazi. Now we've got another hostage situation. And from what I heard, the news forecast prior to you guys coming back on said that Leon Panetta was predicting that it was going to happen. There was going to be even more incidents like this overseas.
Well, there have been.
The reason being, Valanda, I'm sorry. Go ahead, CJ.
No, that's. I was just going to bring up the point that this is not isolated, and for many years now, the taking of hostages and issues of piracy on the seas has been very common. Most of the time you don't hear about it because private individuals and private companies are paying off the jihadis who are seizing ships on the high seas, who are seizing private citizens in foreign countries and holding them for ransom, and you don't hear about it usually.
Well, and here's...
But what do they all have in common? It's a form of jihad. It funds the jihad.
Yeah. But anyway, it's not that I'm not making light of this at all. But I was just concerned about the timing on these things, because he is good at managing crisis.
Right.
He's good at being.
He's good at exploiting a crisis, not managing one. I would say.
I agree with. But right now, I got people like my father I was talking to earlier. He was saying that he's not going to take your gun. Well, now you're reading these edicts in detail. I'm listening at these in detail. And I'm thinking, number one, he's directing everything towards the fact that a prospective gun owner has a mental issue, which is like coming out of something from the Soviet Union. Anybody who disagreed with the government had a mental issue. I remember that. Reading a lot about
That's right.
And we're talking about Medicaid, and how this is going to be integrated into the state and what have you, and how he's going to make the state basically see things his way. If he has to drag them kicking and screaming, he's going to do that. So, and I'm also thinking about. Recently, there's been some discrepancy with respect to what the governor was talking about in terms of how much Obamacare is going to cost, and there's some people saying that the governor doesn't know what he's talking about, and then there are people who are saying he does know what he's talking about with respect to Florida. And I'm thinking this is it's just, I don't know, everything just seems so. Everything's like a big picture to me right now, and I'm trying to.
Well, if you come at it more from a understanding his mindset, where he has to destroy the powers that be as far as controlling your individual freedoms, because the biggest obstacle he has to overcome and kill is actually the American individualism. He has to get rid of that individual ideal, and so therefore you have to keep making people be part of the system, make more and more people part of the system. And when you make more and more people part of the God system of government, then the government can start taking things away from you, because it's what government can do for you. Now it's not, and now these people are going to be finding out this is what government can do to you. Because whatever government can do for you, they can do to you. And it's a two-way street. And so therefore you get all these people involved into the Obamacare issue, and that's the reason his whole gun control thing is about Obamacare. You look, how many, 6 or 7 of them are all related to Obamacare. Stripping away the individual's right to privacy, stripping away the individual's right to freedom, stripping away the individual. If you go... What's that?
Making every doctor a mental psychiatrist.
Right, and now we can start taking guns and things away from people who are, who, if you go into a counselor's office now, and you start talking to your counselor about, you have probably, I'm feeling a little depressed today.
That's right. A lot of people do it, though, Mark. They do. A lot of people are going into their doctor's offices and saying they feel anxiety, this and that. If I hear you guys correctly, I'm listening at the points that you're making and listening at Paul Edat. If that person does this, this would make that person a candidate already to be marked and to be labeled.
Yep, you get a red check mark on your do not have to have a gun list.
Right.
And so now
if you think about it, if you are basically a mentally well person, but you are having a rough patch in your life and you do need some medical or therapeutic assistance, are you going to go to the doctor? Are you going to go to a psychologist and be truthful about what you're experiencing and feeling, knowing that your information will not be private and that a gazillion government agencies are going to have access to it, and you're potentially labeled as a future enemy of the state?
And that scarlet letter's on you for the rest of your life. And now look at it from this side, too.
And your employer finds out about it, too, and says, I'm not sure I want you coming to this office building. Are you going to go postal on us if we decide to let you go?
Yeah.
Right. That's right. I was thinking about that. But, Mark, you asked another question. Where was the Republican Party? Well, if you remember at the outset, during the election, they were saying that what happens if Obama gets reelected? Well, he says, they basically said or conceded that they wouldn't be able to stop Obamacare whatsoever because of the fact that he has been reelected. So they decided, from what I can see, you asked the question about the Republican Party, they decided to, I think, fold them, at least for now. They call themselves, I guess, waiting for the fight that they can win, or coming back when they think they can win the fight.
Right.
Now, they figure the country is in such a state mentally that everything that Obama does is considered gold, or for that matter, it would appear as if they would be working on the president.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
and that's the point.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling, Yolanda. We appreciate your insight, and enjoy having you calling.
Absolutely.
But, I want to go back to also the medical care issue.
Yeah.
Look at it from the reverse side. All right.
Okay.
Is you're a psychiatrist, you're a psychologist in a healthcare office. All right. You want patients to come in and be open and free to talk to you about their problems. Now you have the patient come in. And now they're already terrified to go into a psychologist's office, psychiatrist's office, because they are so apprehensive about their information getting spread out to everybody else. Right. Now you make it a mandate from a psychiatrist. Now she gets the information in here. She goes, oh, well, I'm not going to take down any notes because those notes can be seized and be brought for my client.
Right,
So they're going to like
right.
stop doing their work and stop,
Right.
you know, and there's going to be this lying about, you know, what your well-being is to your doctor. I mean, you're going to be forced
That's
to
right.
lie to every time you go in. Oh, excuse me, man.
Oh
you
yeah, I feel fine. Got no problems. You know.
So are you feeling depressed today?
No, I feel great.
I mean, it's going to force the people just to lie to the doctors all the time, and they're not going
Yeah.
to get the correct diagnosis. And then you look at it, anybody who goes on to antidepressants, oh my God, you're a red flag.
Well, not only that, but if you think about it, if you think about all your personal and private information being spread out over, you know, even more government databases than your information's already out there on, and how many hackings and releases of private information have already occurred
Not only
at
that,
the federal level. Private information.
not only that, look at New York, where they released everybody who's a gun owner,
Yeah.
or the worst yet. Also, they have the right to release everybody who's not a gun owner.
Right.
What's going to stop them from? They have a wealth of information about your medical, private, personal history that people.
But there is
let's
no
say-
privacy in a totalitarian state. And
That's the point.
what this is all about.
This is removing the individual rights and making the individual insignificant so they cannot stand up to the government or
That's
to the
right.
system.
It's not really
And
about guns
what
at
do you-
all.
And, you know, what did Hitler do? And what did those people do? They removed guns from the people they didn't like. And
That's right.
I love what's going around the internet right now. Did you hear the latest one?
Oh, about Hitler?
Oh, they go, Hitler did not ban guns. Hitler did not ban guns. Hitler did not ban guns. Well, actually, he did.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, their argument is, well, during the Treaty of Versailles, they totally banned guns and nobody was allowed to hold a gun.
Well,
but,
first of all, yeah, that wasn't the Germans who banned guns. That
But
was
anyway,
the terms of the treaty.
But
Yeah.
anyway, well, Hitler, you know, gave everybody guns inside Germany. And, you know, so, you know, the rise of guns is what caused Hitler. I'm going, well, no, not exactly right. Hitler gave all the guns to everybody he liked, like
That's
the
right.
Nazi Party, like everybody else he liked. Who did he ban guns from, CJ?
Oh, the
Jews.
Jewish people. Yes.
The
people
Jewish
who
pe-
would actually need to defend themselves against the Nazis were not allowed to own guns.
How did that work out for them?
Yeah,
Huh?
how'd that work out for the Jewish people?
Yeah, uh-huh.
We do have another caller on the line.
Okay.
Liz is on the
All right,
line.
Liz.
from St. Louis. And what do you think about the imperial edicts, Liz?
Well, my comment was about the psychiatry as far as tying it in with Islam just a little bit. I did some research on a group called the Association of Pakistani Physicians in North America, and they're actually based in Chicago.
Right.
And as I was doing some research, I noticed a lot of the psychiatrists, especially one we have here in St. Louis, you know, a lot of these members are linked and members of other known Muslim Brotherhood-linked groups like ISNA and CARE. And I think we really have to know that a lot of these doctors, especially from Pakistan, are coming with the Obamacare plan. They're coming to make their lives here. And, you know, I don't know if you'd really want one of these psychiatrists determining whether or not you are depressed enough to, you know, keep your gun.
I don't want any psychiatrist. I don't want any psychiatrist, psychologist, or anybody going to the authorities unless there's an imminent threat. And it says, yeah, I know this guy's going to whack a whole bunch of people. I understand that part, but the general idea of a psychiatrist is the right to have a privacy conversation with your patient. I mean, there's the confidentiality is huge in the medical field.
Right.
And then what's going to stop that from going into the legal field with the gun thing? I mean, what's going to stop that? Right. That's the whole point.
Right.
Is now the doctors, the medical association are now, you know, the sheriffs, the cops.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
what?
I mean, there already are some rules for reporting, even for mental health therapists,
Right.
if they know.
If they know, okay, this guy's, I've been talking to this guy.
He came in, sat down, told me he was going to take a knife and stab his wife to death while she was sleeping. I mean,
There's those-
you know, they're
That's-
supposed to report that. Yeah. But they don't have to report everybody who happens to be on like Prozac or something.
Right, and that's what Obamacare is now calling for. You have to have open medical records to share in a database in all healthcare. You come into a psychiatrist's office or a psychologist's office, and they say, "Hi, CJ, how you feeling today?" Good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a gun?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Is it locked up properly inside your safe?
Yeah.
And you say no. Oh, up. Stop the session.
You know, we have one clear example of Major Hassan, who was an Army psychiatrist, and he was the Fort Hood shooter.
Right.
And, you know, I think we can't forget that some physicians will have an ideology that would not express empathy toward a certain person.
I agree.
Maybe, you know,
I agree with you.
And to have them in charge of determining whether or not, you know, a person can have a gun is really scary.
Yeah.
That's an
a good
interesting
point.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Okay. We do have a lot of foreign doctors in this country, and actually, I think as part of Obamacare, they're encouraged to be imported from foreign countries. No hiring of American doctors, but waiving visa requirements and things like the immigration requirements for foreign doctors.
And we brought up the point a couple hours ago, but I think it's worth reiterating, is the whole, all right, from the presidential edicts, there's going to be a massive database so everybody has interactive with. Like I said, I came from an IT background, a network engineer.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine a database being created like that. I mean, the complexity. I mean, now you got to get the doctor's office, psychiatrist. Everybody has to have access to it. Everybody's got to get a computer system to access to it. Everything's got to be integrated, intertwined.
But it's not, and it's not just the medical agencies and individual medical practitioners reporting, because don't forget, I mean, step one in here is all of the agencies have to provide the information to the Supreme Gun Control Agency.
Right.
So every single government agency has to report everything it knows about everybody to the gun control super agency, which is what, going to be run by minimum wage employees who become unionized like the TSA, and most of them don't speak English?
Now,
I mean, come on.
Knowing what I know about databases and everything, okay, there's not just one person who controls the database. There are hundreds and thousands of people who control a database such as this, who have total admin privileges to get in there and do anything they want inside this database. They can get up there. If you're an actor and you got a mental problem, I can go, hey, look, you know.
Well, no, but think about this, though. If you're an actor and you have a mental problem, you're going to pay a private physician privately in cash off the books, no reporting, get whatever meds you need under a fake name, or get your agent or your agent's secretary to have the prescription under her name, and that's how you're going to get your meds. I mean, look at Michael Jackson and Anna Nicole Smith and all those types of people, and how do they get their whole pharmacies?
But in a system like
until
this,
they're dead, they don't get caught.
in a massive database system like this,
yeah,
you're never off the grid.
You're never off the grid.
Because as soon as your Social Security number pops up, it's I'm telling you, this is a nightmare for personal safety, for personal privacy, for individual rights. It is a nightmare to have all this information collected into a central database to do just what we're talking about, to take away your gun, to take away other rights or liberties that you happen to hold dear about yourself, you know, and then it goes off, and now it's into some federal bureaucrat who has the right to deny you some whatever medical benefit or medical procedure because you don't fit into the cause.
Right.
You know, this is going right down the streets, and the end result, you're right down the streets of Gattaca. Okay. You come down the part, okay, well, you have a history, and your family has a history of this, so, you know, you don't have a right to liver transplant.
Right.
This is where this is all going. And this is not just about guns. This is about everything to do with your personal privacy and your personal life, your right to exist as a human being, as an individual.
And also, it doesn't solve the issue to begin with.
This never was about guns.
Which is why is this culture so violent to begin with?
Right.
And how do we protect the weakest in our society from this violence?
Right.
And it is 5:35 on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and we are Trento Vision minus Mr. Trento.
We're just a vision.
Hour.
We're just a vision today.
On WNN 1470 AM radio, on iHeartRadio, 888-565-1470. We're talking about the imperial edicts today. If you want to call in, weigh in, have a comment. give us a call.
So we have a weather report. We got to do a weather report.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do a weather report today. And it just wouldn't be a day on the job without a weather report. And here at 5:35 p.m. in beautiful downtown Boca Raton, Florida, it is 79 degrees.
79. Ooh.
And somebody is waking up and taking a look out the window for the traffic report.
Get your mic.
No, I'm adjusting the iris on the camera.
Oh, that we're getting darker.
Yeah.
Do
we have a traffic report?
Yeah.
It's what time is it?
5:30.
It's 5:36 now.
Traffic's going to be horrible right now.
Traffic is going to be horrible right now. You might as well.
Oh, it's 5:30 and I'm stepping on everything. It's 5:30, so it's going to be 5:30 traffic, which is never really that friendly or good.
That's right. And that's why you just need to tune in to Trento Vision on 1470 AM on your radio.
And we have a fracking car report. The frack car report.
Earlier today.
Right.
I think there's a movie with this title of, counting train cars or something like that.
Really. So how many fracking cars?
42 fracking
cars
on their way north.
To the frack fields.
To the frack fields of North Dakota.
So more. This was all gravel. So
yeah,
they're shipping gravel all the way, and gravel and sand all the way from South Florida all the way up to the fracking fields of North Dakota.
Yep.
So 54 fracking cars.
So have no fear. Fracking is happening.
Good. And actually,
you should explain what fracking is again, since you brought it up, because there could be people out there who don't know.
All right. They have no fracking clue?
They have no fracking clue. We are so going to get punished. My phone is...
Fracking is a technology where they force fluids into the ground, crack the ground to get the oil out. And in essence, it is water...
here it is.
Water, baby oil, and sand. That's all it is.
Water, baby oil, and sand.
And it's a big myth out there. It's a huge boom to our technology. We found a huge field up in North Dakota.
Right.
And it's where they're shipping and what they need is what I said: sand, gravel, baby oil, water. Throw it in the ground, expand it, boom.
And they have to get the sand from the beaches of
and they got to get sand.
Florida.
They don't have sand up in
especially not in the winter.
Right, exactly. So, but what's your iPhone doing here?
That's not my phone. That's your computer.
It's not my computer.
Okay, whatever you do, don't have a good time. I just got a text from Tom. Invisible Mike is right. The traffic is horrible. Okay, so we have confirmation.
Who's on point?
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Oh, well. But now we've been talking all day today about the Obama edicts from the Mount. And, where does this all end, CJ? I mean, is this going to get worse, going to get better, or what's Congress going to do about all this? You have any idea?
What's Congress going to do about anything?
Nothing.
I don't know. I'm waiting to find out from Peter Feynman when he returns.
Right.
Yeah, when Peter Feynman returns, our Republican National Committeeman for Florida, good friend and Palm Beach attorney, and he is going to the winter RNC meeting in North Carolina, and he's going to tell us how the Republican Party thinks it's going to solve the problems of this country after they solve the problems of the Republican Party.
And has there been? I know the. Is there any outrage have you found on there as far as this thing, other than the talk shows and everything like that?
No, that's part of the hypocrisy that we talk about with the left, because these people were screaming for 8 years at George Bush and the Republicans about the Patriot Act after our country had actually been attacked.
And listen, I'll be quite honest.
And I wasn't thrilled with all aspects of the Patriot Act either, and I don't think
because it can come back two ways on you.
I don't think anybody needs to know what books I'm checking out of the library or anything like that. But now those people are advocating these measures.
How can they advocate for this invasion into your privacy on health care?
Because they think they're immune to it.
I mean, health care, everything. Think about it.
Well, wait a minute. You're being rational, and you have actually researched what these edicts are.
Right.
The people who are supporting them don't know what's in them. All they know is that they feel good and that the president is a good guy who had a photo op with children, and he's the friend of children everywhere, and they support him, and he's benign and benevolent, and he's just going to take care of everybody,
Right.
and they don't actually need to know what's in here.
Because it makes me feel good. Because I'm standing
Because
with
it
little
makes them
children.
feel good.
Because I'm standing with little children.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't get it either. I don't get it either. And
No, it just, you know, we've said, you know, when Obama came into power again, that it's just going to get worse. I guess this is the part of the getting worse.
well, he's
It's
piling it
incremental.
on. He's piling it on. He's going
And-
to steamroller over
Yep.
everybody. He's going to steamroller over Israel, which he wasted no time doing. What were we talking about the other day? And oh yeah, well, here you go. I mean, here we had Al Gore, you know, just waiting for the election.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah,
right?
Al Gore's era, you know. They're just waiting for after the election. Oh, they'll never stop us.
They're not going to stop us. People are
They're-
asleep.
Yeah,
This is the
everybody's
big clue.
asleep. Now we got to make our move.
And you look over
that's what it is
overseas. We're
now.
talking about, you know, now they're scrambling. You know, out in Algeria. Excuse me. Algeria, they're out there scrambling, trying to, you know, release hostage. I mean, the Muslim Brotherhood, they smell weakness all over the place. It's that weak horse, strong horse thing that Tom's talking about.
That's right.
You know, whether you believe, you know, Obama is the great Satan or not, okay, the Muslims are smelling just complete weakness. If you think Obama is our favor, the other option is Obama's on their side. There's only two options. Either Obama is permitting us to be, our hostages to be captured and our Benghazi situation and everything else, or, you know, it's no matter which way you look at Obama, it's a lose-lose situation. If you think he's a good president, the Muslims are saying that he's weak.
Does he get anything right?
Oh, okay.
Does he get anything right?
He's a loser.
He's on the wrong side
No matter which way you
of
look at it.
every single question. On every single national security issue, he is on the wrong side. He toppled regimes that were, you know, I'm not going to say they were pro-American, but at least they were keeping things quiet.
Right, they had peace treaty with
and he
Israel.
toppled them to put in the Muslim Brotherhood.
Now, look at him on finances. If you look at him on the financial, you know, part, he's either you know the biggest idiot in the world, or there's something malevolent about it. What is your choice? I mean, pick whichever one you want to look at it. I mean, either way, it's a lose-lose. Yeah. And that's what we keep saying is these patterns keep happening all over and over and over again.
And I think part of it is designed to really overwhelm any opposition in every single area of life. Because if you look at the totality of it,
right,
there isn't any aspect of your life that is not getting affected by Obamaism.
Right. Well, that's good. Obamaism, yeah.
Okay.
That's such a good term.
And who is strong enough in this country to stand up to it? I mean, you've got this group over here looking at taxes. You got another group over here looking at Obamacare. You got another group over here looking at the Grand Jihad. Who's looking at everything? And who's looking at stopping the steamroller?
And you got a press that's just, you know, slobbering all over him.
The press is for what's happening.
And this is what surprises me.
I can't stand. I got to tell you, I can't stand what this camera is doing. So you need to fix it or turn it off. No, because I'm looking at it on the screen here, and I'm broken up, and I can see colors in my face, and it's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on over there.
All right. The point being is, yeah, where does it stop? Where do we go with this thing? And where does it?
How do we take our country back?
And that's the big question, because everywhere you look, it is going the wrong direction. And now we have, you know, an overbearing government getting more and more intrusive and more, you know, more and more in our lives.
Well, does that help us? Because we start off, our big issue is national security.
Right.
Okay. We see the threats to the homeland.
Right.
Okay. From without and from within.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's a lot of components to that. It doesn't just happen by the sword and saber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It happens economically. It happens through finance. It happens through the disintegration of the American economy and the American culture. All these things tie together to really bring down the republic. So when we look at something like this, people who maybe aren't so interested in national security are going to take a look at what's happening in this country maybe for the first time and say, you know what? I was kind of sitting it out for a while, but maybe there's something more going on here than what I thought, and how do I link up, like through the Tea Party?
Mm-hmm. No, right.
Through the Tea Party site,
Yeah,
for instance.
And that's something that's we're working on. I think this is actually a very, very
and it's
exciting
called
teapartycommunity.com.
teapartycommunity.com.
And Tom just came back from an exciting event down in South Carolina where people are actually really motivated, who are feeling this frustration that we're feeling, who are, this is, this whole edict list is not a surprise, to the people down in South Carolina. It's not a surprise to the people out in Arizona or out in California or the other groups that we've worked with. This is par for the course. And what we need to do is we need to come together. We need to get more people elected into office that share our common ideas, our common beliefs, get them aware on what the actual problem is. It's not just the economic problem. It's not just a gun law problem. It's every problem, involved. And it's, it's very frustrating.
So teapartycommunity.com, has that been launched, or is there going to be a grand launch, or is there going to be a big mass emailing and a big announcement?
Yeah, we're actually planning on launching it this Thursday. Not this Thursday, but the following
next Thursday.
Next Thursday. And we're going to have a 3-hour show of bringing everybody on and telling them what the Tea Party community is. And go check it out right now. It's actually one of the most, friendly Facebook type of sites that I've ever seen, and coming from an IT background, it's very easy to work in and very easy to use. And you can post a thing and it actually goes across all. If you make a post on the list, it actually goes across everybody's group, so it takes away the individuality of making you have to get like thousands and thousands of friends. And there is no friend restriction on it. So you can post something and you can look at everybody's post that's been going on. Or you can go back and look at, your friends list post. And it's very easy to work around.
And the point is to bring together all these different groups that we're talking about who have all these different interests and these different angles about what are the problems that we're facing right now, and kind of get everybody together around the country. You may think you're isolated out in St. Louis, and maybe you are, or you may think, I've got a few friends out here in California who kind of get it, but what's happening everywhere else, we can all kind of link up together, kind of a central...
A hub of where to go.
But not just to get informed, although that's going to be a big part of it, but also for real activism for change.
Yes, and then you're going to have also each state entity having a hub within itself. So you have the center one, and you have the ones that branch down on top of it. So if you're in South Carolina, you can... Mike, just take it to a one-shot on 2 here. Yeah, we're getting a lot of breakup on the 2 screen. Yeah. So, but yeah, we can actually take the, to each individual state hub and break it down in that fashion.
Right.
And so we're going to launch this thing on the next Thursday, which is a scheduled date. And it's a tentative date. It may change depending on some other issues. But the point being is we start bringing in people, tell them how to, coalesce, how to act, how to become activists, how to actually make a difference in your community. How, like for example, up in Iowa.
So this could be very important for the midterm elections.
Yes, it could be for midterm elections, also the national elections. Like for example, look up what happened up in Iowa. 6 Tea parties came up there and they split out and they chose 3 different candidates. And he had one candidate came in at the 11:59 hour, spent $9 million in TV ads, and ended up winning the primary.
Right.
And then 2 weeks, and then so the money got all split. So there's 3 candidates that came out of Iowa that had 3 different conservative viewpoints. Same thing happened in New Hampshire, is 3 different. So nobody coalesced behind one conservative candidate. So what we left was a moderate candidate who only collected 26% of the vote, who managed to have enough money to hang in there all the way to the end. He gets a nomination. Whereas, I mean, if you have the right candidate, they have no way of, conservative candidate, they all get split up between the three of them. And so that's a big problem, is if the Tea Party could come behind in the community, say, listen, we are endorsing this.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you don't even have to, I mean, this is a Tea Party community, but you don't have to identify yourself as a Tea Party person. I mean, this is not like you're talking about a third party or something like that.
Yeah, look at this.
Okay,
look who we are.
basically,
We are the United West and Trento Vision and all that above. And
right.
We are not Tea Party.
No, we're not the Tea Party.
But we believe in the Constitution, we believe in the
Right.
security of Israel.
Right.
The only major difference between us is the national security issue.
Right.
And that's the main difference.
Which
because,
we want to educate all these
yes.
Self-identified Tea Party
Right.
people with.
We agree with all the Tea, and here's also something too. You go out there and you tell someone, what is the Tea Party? What is this? Nobody can define it.
Nobody can define it, yeah.
I mean, there's individual groups who can define it, but there's no one clear mission of what it is, what the value is. Right now, the left has defined all conservative people who believe in the Constitution.
Tea Party extremists.
Tea Party extremists. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I
Well,
mean,
first of all, I know a lot of people who, subscribe to Tea Party ideals of limited government, limited taxation, et cetera, pro-Constitution. And they're very extreme in their support for the United States and Israel.
Right.
And pretty much that's where the extremism ends. They really love this country, and they love Israel.
They love Israel.
And they want to save the West. And pretty much that's what they live to do. I mean, they're just activists.
I mean, and I see, people, many people of different races inside the.
Blacks and Hindus and former Muslims and I mean, there's just all flavors and all the religions represented.
Right.
And so, I think that's going to be a good thing. TeaPartyCommunity.com.
Yeah, you need to go check
Is
out.
it so easy that I can do it?
Yes, it is so easy, CJ. Because that's one of my big frustrations. Being a computer person, Facebook is just such a. Oh my God!
Well, there's a lot of nonsense on there that doesn't really.
Well, it's so hard to use. I mean, and I'm computer, pretty much fluent, and it is really hard to use. And Facebook's its own worst enemy because they're out there censoring, they're out there doing all this other nonsense.
That's right.
You got to put your public name out there or whatever, and all that,
right.
Crazy stuff. And then, whereas on this site you don't have to do it. So it's actually very, very
that
great.
Sounds good. So we made it. 3 whole hours of Trento Vision, almost without Tom Trento.
Almost without Tom Trento. Walking us down the street. Right?
Walking us down the street. That went very well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow after we read the headlines of the fallout from today, and maybe we'll follow up on some more of these
And go
edicts.
read for yourself the 23 edicts, and it'll be quite eye-opening to see how much Obamacare is in this thing.
Yeah. But
we are
we are Trento Vision, 1470 AM, and we will be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with Tom Trento.
With Tom Trento.
Yeah, with Tom Trento in the studio. Thank you for listening.
Au revoir.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those